The last note that I wrote was not studying if you don't study halacha, then you could study. Then you like fall in the simplest halacha.
Right.
Like
Okay, so we're on page 5, in the end of Daled. So it's the last 3 lines on the top of the page. We're saying what a person has to learn every day, the minimum that a person should study. Now we mentioned that it's very important for Balei Batim, for people who only have 3 or 4 hours a day to study Torah. Such poor people. They only have 3 or 4 hours a day to study Torah. That they should spend that time.
That's like Rabbi Parrott saying, like, "Oh, please don't study more than 4 hours a day with your wife."
Right. That's too much.
he said that.
Yeah, we asked we asked him.
4.
He said it's a good thing to study with your wife Torah every day, but don't study with her too much. What's too much? Like not more than a few hours. Like that's already too much. So. It's like a few minutes. Okay. V'yesh alomdim. There are some who study davar yom biyomo. A little bit every day. Beseder halimud. In the order of study, Asher B'Sefer Chok L'Yisrael, which is found in the book Chok L'Yisrael, which means the law of Israel, or there's a better word for Chok, but okay. There's a book called Chok L'Yisrael. Nowadays it comes in 5 volumes. You can get an English one for like 25 volumes. Yeah, it's a big set.
Yeah.
You get it for free online. We want messages in one of the videos, so we're going to repeat all that.
But something what you said, chok.
Chok
Israel.
L'Yisrael.
That's
They're using the word
okay.
chok as like a set amount of study every day for the Jewish people. This book was very popular
Thank you.
in the Sephardic community. It later gained popularity in the Hasidic community, and unfortunately, as our rabbis have become more and more educated at the hands of a minority who rules over the Jewish community with a mighty hand,
I agree.
they've decided to give up on this area of study because of its lack of intellectual rigor. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It's not smart enough. It's not intelligent enough. It's too useful.
Too useful.
Yeah, that's how most people
Sounds
think
like
about
the
Torah now.
Navy.
If it's not like this, then what's the point of studying it? So you actually want to know how to be Jewish?
Which basically is like saying, like, "Oh, don't study the Chumash, don't study the Tanakh,
Correct. Don't study halakha. Don't study. So what is Chok Israel? Shenosad Lapi Rabbeinu Harizal was instituted by Rabbeinu Harizal. It was good enough for him. You know the Harizal?
That's it. Rizal?
Yeah, probably from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai until the Harizal, there was nobody like that. The Harizal was not a simple person. Go to the Harizal's grave at Sfat. We went together. On his tombstone, Rabbi Chaim Vital writes like 50 things that Harizal did on a daily basis. Talking to animals, knowing all the secrets of the Torah, seeing spirits reincarnated in trees, fixing people's souls, reading people's past lives on their forehead, things like that. He was a very simple person.
Oh, simple.
I mean, that's why he instituted this very simple area of study. I'm saying this sarcastically. V'yesh bo Torah nevi'im uktubim. It has in there Torah from the Chumash, nevi'im, the words of our prophets, uktubim, and it has in there from the Ktuvim, which are the writings. Mishnah, it has a little bit of Mishnah every day. Gemara, and a little bit of Gemara every day. Zohar HaKadosh, and it has a little bit of Zohar every day. And the Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef Divrei Zohar, added the last 2 sections, and that is Musar. A little bit of Musar every day, Halachot, and Halachot every day.
We should get this.
Let's say you could do it all in about an hour. Maybe 2. Maybe 2.
Yeah, you can do an hour.
If you would do it fast, in an hour. If you just read through it. If you want to really learn it, so you give yourself 2 hours. But you don't have to do it all at once. I mean, you could do this throughout your day. It's the kind of thing where you could, after you take off your tefillin, you study Tarach, the 3 sections. Because it's very short. It's 3 psukim from each one. And then you go to work, and in between whatever phone calls, you do your little bit of Mishnayot. And then later on, you do, by your lunch break, you do the Gemara. And by dinner at the table, you read your Zohar. And before you go to sleep, you do the 1 halakha and the 1 sentence of Musar. It's not very difficult to do in a whole day.
Is it English?
They have it today in Hebrew and English. You get it for free online. Every day, you get what's for today.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing every year. So every year you do the same Torah and you really remember it. It's not like a 7-year cycle, which you don't remember what you studied 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But you do this every year. It's broken up into, let's say this week, So it's last week's. Let's imagine it's the week of Parshat Bereshit. So it's going to say for Sunday of Parshat Bereshit, Monday Parshat Bereshit, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a little bit of its own order, and Shabbat there's no Chok Yisrael. Why? You're supposed to be studying at the synagogue, and the rabbi is supposed to be teaching. This is meant for a person who doesn't have time to stick around all the classes in the Knesset. It gives you a very wholesome understanding of Torah. I used to teach a class of Chok Yisrael, and it's good. It's an important thing to try.
It's pretty cool.
On page 6, at the top of the page, V'im efshar hadavar. And if it's possible for those who are studying Chok Yisrael, Yilmedu aseder anal, they should study this order of Chok Yisrael, B'tzavta. B'tzavta is an Aramaic word. Together, Im Talmid Chacham, with a Talmid Chacham. It's better not to do it on your own. You can do it on your own. But it would be even better if they would do it together with Talmid Chacham. Shiva'er lifnehem, which will explain to them Seder HaLimud, the order of study. The Mishnah, Uva Gemara, Uva Halachot Karoi, which will explain to them the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Halachot properly. When you study things on your own, so then you oftentimes just know it with your limited understanding of the text that you're reading. But if you would have a Talmid Chacham, and this used to be a normal thing after Tefillah, the rabbis or the Talmidei Chamim, sometimes a younger Kollel person in the community, they would sit with everybody in the Beit Knesset and they would study for an hour, 2 hours, Chok Yisrael. Think about the way the world works. Many of you have to be at work at 8 or 9, or it's an interesting job, but in most businesses, what do I mean by most? Not all, you can't make a general rule. Business opens at 10 o'clock. It's at 10 o'clock in the normal time in many places to open up your store. Nobody's shopping at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if they are, there are some places like that. But
Walmart.
10 o'clock when people are around, and right, you're not the manager of Costco. You're Costco opens at 10 o'clock. This is a
Banker's hours.
right. So you have time. You pray at 7. Even if you pray at 8 o'clock. Let's say you pray at 7. You finish feel at 8. You go and have breakfast, or you have breakfast later. You have an hour and a half to study Torah. It's part of many people's schedule that used to be that way. Today we have to be out, we have to drive the kids to school. We lose our morning, but morning used to be a time where you sat down, you had breakfast with your family, you went to study a little bit, and then people used to read the whole newspaper in the morning. We don't live in that world anymore. Now they listen to it on the radio or on their phone or whatever happens. But it used to be a normal thing in this country. People had a good half an hour in the morning to sit down and just read the paper. A normal, well-read person knew what happened in the paper that morning. Today people don't have time for that. I see most people get their papers delivered, they stack up on the table and they throw them in the garbage at the end of the week.
Or they get their news out of that.
They get the news on their phone.
Yeah.
But imagine if you worked at 10 to have those hours in the morning to study Torah. I went to Baltimore a year and a bit ago. Maybe 2 years, I don't remember when I was there. And I had to stay overnight by a friend's house. I was just there for one night. I was in New York, I drove in at night, I drove out the next morning. My friend is a social worker. And he works normal office hours, but let's say 8 to 5. That's his schedule. So I rolled in at about 9:30, and he was already sleeping. Sleeps at 9:30
At night?
at night. Right, don't say who. I know a lot of people sleep at 9:30 at night. But he left me a key under the doormat, and I came in. I let myself in. The room was already made. They even put food in our room. I was with my wife. Maybe Al-Hanan was born already. I don't remember. We went in, Al-Hanan was born. We went in, and I don't know why he goes to sleep so early. But on his note in the room, he said he's also not going to see me in the morning. Because he leaves the house at 4:30. That's why he goes to sleep at 9:30. Why 4:30?
Gets up.
Because he gets up to pray, but before he prays, he davens at 7. But before, he has to learn. So he has a chavruta. There's another classmate of mine. Both of them are former classmates from Ner Yisrael. They study every morning from 5 till 7. 5 till 7, they pray at 7 o'clock, 7:50, whatever it is, they drive to work and they start their day at 8 o'clock. Every single morning, including Shabbat morning. And at night, he also goes to another class, don't think. He goes to that class at night. He comes home, 9:30, he sleeps.
He's married man?
A married man with a child. He's around at home, don't think. He's around. But in the morning, his wife takes the kid to school. But he's built into his system 2 hours in his morning to study Torah. Now, 4:30 is a crazy time for most of us to wake up. But if that was important enough, we could plan it into our schedule to do such a thing. And I'm very proud of him. I mean, if this is what you call that normal working layman, not a rabbi, he's not a... then that's a really big deal. I'll tell you, I can tell you many things about Baltimore that I struggle with, but the one thing I appreciate so much still today, it's the only place I've been in my whole life that has created a community of not just religious people, but people who study Torah. I go to many Torah communities and everyone is a bigger ignoramus than the next. The rabbi knows, but the people are just, they dress this whole very religious look, but they're not very learned people. When you have not learned Jews, you have problems. Like, what are you if you don't know Torah? Someone has a dog. He also doesn't know Torah. What makes you so religious? What do you know? Torah is not about following, it's also about knowing. You were shown to know. Hashem gives us 3 commandments: to ask, to research, to inquire into everything in depth. So when are we going to do that? So they have a whole community of people who study in the morning, study at night. You go to the yeshiva in Baltimore at night, and they're normal, what you would call working people. Not yeshiva guys, they used to be yeshiva guys. They come, some of them study the whole night there, 8 till 10. Some teach. It's a chief surgeon in a hospital, it's a guy with an accounting firm. But they stay on top of their learning so well that they can walk into yeshiva 30 years after they graduated and give a Torah class on the level of the students that are studying full time. That should be the desire of any community of observant Jews. Why can't everyone be knowledgeable? You go to their classes sometimes. Every rabbi in the yeshiva gives a class during the week in one of the synagogues in town. And there are people who come and they study in these classes. And I remember once one of the rabbis told us, "Can we join the class?" He said, "You can, but you won't understand anything." What do you mean? I'm a full-time yeshiva guy. We don't want to understand anything. Like these guys who study with me 2 hours on a Wednesday night, they're so much more advanced than you in learning that you won't be able to keep up with the way they learn. That should be a goal. And nobody can take it away from them. That they've succeeded in making 1, 2, 3 generations like that, at least. It's an incredible thing. We're going to get there too. This is part of that. Uvizman achron says nowadays, recently. This is not politically correct, so we're going to do it together. Hechelu bekama mekomot. They started in a number of places. Lilmod, to study chokhmat haKabbalah, the wisdom of Kabbalah. What does that mean?
Is he being kind of sarcastic?
Yeah.
Yeah, quotation.
Quotations. This week I saw someone give a class. The Kabbalah up. Somebody in the Jewish community. Somebody respectable. And I wanted to ask my wife if she could ask in my name if this person in their library owns a Zohar or any other work of Kabbalah. Do they have a Sefer Abahir, a Sefer Razir HaMalach, a Sefer Yitzirah? Do they have in there the writings of the Arizal and Chaim Vital? Do they have in there the writings of Rabbi Chaim Palagi, the Berish Chai, or the Chida, or the Reshash, Rabbi Shalom Shalabi, or even the Ashkenazim Mekubalim, the Leshem, the Shnei Luchot Abriya, the Mishnah Horowitz? They have any of these works in their library? No. I can answer the question for no. So what are you teaching exactly? Rabbi Yosef Masas says, what is Kabbalah nowadays? It's all about gematrias of numbers, switching them upside down, holding them up in front of mirrors, all kind of. This is not Kabbalah. It's anything that sounds like it came from a circus. This is considered today Kabbalah. Or it's some new age self-help. You could get in Barnes & Noble, just change some of the words to Jewish ones, and this is Kabbalah today.
The names of God.
This Chokhmat the Kabbalah, it's a discipline in its own right. It's not just a book. It's a way to look at the world. By the way, they're not all the Chachamim agreed with. But it's an approach. It's a whole other dimension. A rabbi said the Torah has 3 dimensions, the 4th dimension. That's so. And they said Sfaradim have a problem. The problem, I'll tell you, we have 4 levels of study Torah. Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drash, Vesod. There are 4 levels. How do you spell Sfarad? They always put the Kabbalah before they put the Pshat. The Samech goes before the Pei. That's a problem. Sometimes you go, everyone wants to learn Zohar, let's finish the Chumash first. Let's do a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Let's figure out how we wash our hands in the morning. No, for everyone wants to know what's that. I must be in Kabbalah. It's like, no, there's a desire, and I'm not going to take it away. The Hasidic masters of Kook speak about a desire that will come to the world to know more than what people have been taught until today. And that's probably where this urge of studying deeper comes from. I'm not mocking that. But it's this, let's teach things that are not truly Kabbalah. Who's going to teach them? People who don't know Kabbalah. Once I asked Moshe Feinstein, how do you know if somebody's really a Kabbalist or not? He said, well, if they tell you they know Kabbalah, they probably don't. And if they tell you they don't, they probably do. So then says, Sir Moshe, what about you? Do you know Kabbalah? He says, no, I don't know how to answer that question. If I tell you I don't, you're going to think that I do. So what do you do? The bottom line is the secrets of the Torah were guarded. They're given to people who guarded them for Am Yisrael. And anybody who's willing to sell them in the market for a few bucks is probably not the guardian of the secrets of Israel. Probably not. V'adavar pashut, it's very simple. Shemi shalom mileh kirso. Somebody who did not fill his keres. What is a keres?
Head?
In Yiddish, they call it a boich. In English, they'll call it your beer belly. A keres. Your belly.
Fill his belly.
But like, it's not your stomach, it's your belly, like fat. Somebody has not filled up their stomach, meaning has become fat. Bishas, with the Talmud, with the Poskim, and the writings of the Poskim. Ve'eno Talmid Chacham, and he's not a Torah scholar, not just any Torah scholar. Eino Talmid Chacham muflag b'Torah, who's an expert in Torah, Virat Shamayim, and the awe of heaven. What does it mean, Virat Shamayim? There are many Talmidei Chachamim, unfortunately, they know a lot of Torah, but it's divorced from any kind of relationship with Hashem that should keep them in check. They don't actually care about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Asur lo lilmod chokhmat Kabbalah. It's forbidden for a person who doesn't fall into this category to study Kabbalah. I want to read, and then we're going to talk about it.
Wait. Can you just say that last line again?
Sure. Unless a person has filled their stomach with Shas, the writings of the Poskim, and he's not an expert of Torah. Not Talmid Chacham is an expert, and he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim. So somebody who's not in that category is not allowed to study Kabbalah.
Can you remind us what the precise definition of Shas is again?
Shas is a Shas
Shas
literally means the 6 orders of the Mishnah, and we already include in that the Talmud. So it's the 6 orders of the Mishnah with the commentaries of the Talmud. But it's somebody who knows the whole Talmud.
I think the acronym stood for the...
6 orders.
Yeah, it was like one
Shishas
letter from...
Sidrei Mishnah.
It was a Talmud a Shas, and then what was the other one?
The writings of the Poskim, Halakha. And they have to be a Torah scholar who has fear of heaven. Uvifrat, and specifically, yesh limchot, one must protest, keneged mekomot, against places, shemelamdim, that they teach Kabbalah, l'hamon ha'am, to the masses. Ufamim, and sometimes, shemelamdim atzmam, the teachers themselves, einam muchzakim lirei Hashem. They're not people who have Yirat Shamayim. V'choshvei shemo, nor the people that take Hashem into consideration. V'shomer nafsho, and he who is careful, yirchak mehem, will distance himself from them. Let's read the footnote, and then we'll talk. The footnote on the bottom, Yud Tet, you see the bottom right column? It's in Rashi script, so forgive me. Hine bazohar hakadosh. Do you see where I'm reading from? It's in the middle of the right paragraph. The last bold letters. Hine hazohar hakadosh. Hine bazohar hakadosh. In the Holy Zohar, Parshat Pikudei. Hifligu be'onsho. They talk a lot, excessively, about the punishment shel mei she'eino osek b'sitrei Torah, of anybody who does not study Kabbalah. The Zohar says that it's a very bad thing for a person not to study Kabbalah. The Zohar says.
Well, yeah, what do you expect?
And the rabbis say you should listen to the rabbis. Okay, but we're taking the Zohar as a book that we're listening to. Umeidach, actually to the contrary, hifligu bischaro, they speak excessively about the reward shel haosek b'hem, of a person who studies the secrets of the Torah. And then he quotes a whole long list of books. I'm going to just read you the names of the books, but they're just sources. And see similar in the Midrash of Mishlei, and in the Shaar HaGilgulim, the gates of reincarnation. Who's that?
Arizal.
The Reb Chaim Vital, the name of the Arizal. Uva'akdama l'Shaar HaMitzvot, introduction to the chapter of Mitzvot, the gate of Mitzvot, u'sever dvarim achadim, u'mibar kedemot, u'dvash lefi, u'v'shomer emunim. The shomer emunim is, I don't know which shomer emunim is referring to. My assumption is referring to the old Italian shomer emunim, and not the Hasidic shomer emunim of 50 years ago. But I'm not correct. U'v'dat u'dvuna, u'v'pele yoetz. Pele yoetz? In the chapter called Limud.
Where does it say Pele Yoetz? Is it in like an acronym?
The Pele Yoetz is already in the top of the next paragraph.
Oh, I went to stuff. Yeah, I see it now.
Okay, let me read you from the Pele Yoetz. Because it's in chapter Lamed, and we're still in Hay, so it's going to take us like 30 years to get there. Okay? Ulachar shemileh kereso. Oh, see, they have it written. And once a person fills his keres, his belly, mikol halimudim v'aydiot al pi pshat, he fills them up with all of the knowledge you need to know from the Torah of pshat. Yishtadel lilmod chokhmat HaKabbalah. A person should make effort to study Kabbalah. Ki yadua, because it's known. Shel yom hadin shoalim le'adam gam al razei Torah u'maaseh merkava. The Midrash of Mishlei, which you referred to, says that at the end of 120 years, we're going to be asked also by the Torah of Kabbalah, if we know it. V'atid liten et hadin, and we will give consequence, we'll be judged for it. Im haya yachol lilmod v'lo lamad. If he had the ability to study Kabbalah and he chose not to. V'haragil b'sefer HaZohar, and somebody who commonly reads in the book of Zohar. He'll see how humiliating it is for a person to reach the next world without having a grasp on the wisdom of Kabbalah. A few times the Zohar says it was better for a person to not have been born than to suffer the humiliation after 120 years of not knowing the wisdom of Kabbalah. Tismar sa'arat enosh. Your hair should stand up on end, says the Pele Yoetz. Let's help you out of here, okay? Help me out too first. ובוודאי שאין הקדוש ברוך הוא בא בטרוניה על בריותיו. Masechet Avodah says it's a fact that Hashem does not like to complain and make problems about his children. Know the sentence. And every time you see some Jewish pastor speaking, stick this on his forehead. The Kadosh Baruch Hu does not like to come and complain about his children.
Where is that from?
The Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Gimel. V'akol lefi ma shu adam. It's dependent on who you are, what kind of person you are. Chiyuva ramya alav lasig ladat kol asher b'kocho. You have an obligation to study as much Torah, not that you have time for it, but that also you have the mental capacity to comprehend. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone is commanded to know everything the same. There are many people that I see that Hashem didn't bless them with the ability to understand Torah in depth. And I'm okay with that. Hashem, thank God, gave some of us and some of us didn't. But when those people then get full of religious pride and conceit, and they talk down about everybody who's not as holy as they are, it's embarrassing for them. And I worry for them. Don't waste your time even for a minute. Because the day is short and the work is very long. So even a person sits down and studies Tehillim, reads Tehillim the whole day, and does Mishnah the whole day, and reads pages of Zohar the whole day, but if they can do more than just read, they didn't use their mental capacity to study Torah, so then it's also going to be a problem for him in the next world. But Hashem knows who you are. Everybody has to know who I am. What are my abilities? What do I need to be studying now? Aside from knowing yourself, you should probably know a Talmid Chacham who could guide you on the path of what it is that you need to study. I'm not afraid to study. Every time I go back to Yerushalayim, I was hoping to go this summer. I don't know that's going to happen. Every time I go back to Yerushalayim, I sit with our parents and I say, okay, what do I need to be studying now? Next. What's next on my list? What else do I have to add in? What do I have to take out? And Baruch Hashem, to be guided, at least what's the right direction? Where do you go next? 2 years ago, my parents sent me 2 books on the laws of conversion. It said, you and your father start studying the laws of conversion because I need you to know it. And Baruch Hashem, a year ago, more than a year ago, you know, we went to Israel and got Asmachan, and that's something that I didn't think 3 years ago that would ever be on my plate. But it was. Now it is. It's become an unavoidable issue. And it's a good thing. But I didn't know that 3 years ago. Baruch Hashem, that I had a Talmid Chacham in my life to guide me there. So what's the next thing? The next thing. Well, we get to the next thing, we'll tell you. But every person has to know, who am I? I only have this amount of time in my life to study. Not just in my day, in my life. So what do I really need to accomplish? Make goals for yourself. Set those goals and reach those goals. It's easy to dabble in things that you don't need to do. You ever notice when you do something important, you start getting busy with other things?
To distract you.
How many people go to Torah classes the whole week? In the 10 different sirot, and where the stars fit into the galaxies, and about the waters that come out of the Garden of Eden, and the 2 different kinds of Mashiach, and what their names are going to be. But the halachot of eating kosher, keeping Shabbat, they don't care to study. Why? Because it's easy to study things that don't make me do anything different. It's easy. My neshama has a yetzer hara that is distracting me from studying the things that I need to study. That's a person has to know. I have yetzer hara also. I have a religious yetzer hara. He gets me to do mitzvot. What happens? All of a sudden there's a I'm supposed to be praying. Hashem gets me involved in every mitzvah I can think of under the sun. Or I'm supposed to be doing mitzvot. Hashem says, no, forget about the guy knocking your door. You have to pray mincha. You're a yetzer hara who is very, very smart. Give him some credit. Our parents would say, I know the yetzer hara for more years than you know him. Trust me when I tell you, he's very smart. He doesn't know how to beat him at his own game. There's a religious yetzer hara. The Lubavitch Rebbe writes there's a Hasidic yetzer hara. He gets you to do Hasidic things instead of doing other things. I would never say such a thing if he didn't write it. The person has to, this is the way the world works. So you have to know already what the yetzer hara is going to get you to do. I have to buy 2 different books. One is a book that I'm actually going to use, and one is a book because I'm fascinated. Aliens in Jewish thought. Now, of course I want to buy that book, right? But I also need to study something else. I know I need to study something else, but I only have $30 a month to buy a book. What I'm going to buy? Probably not the one I need to buy. I'm talking about myself as everybody. That's the way our life is. It's not a big deal. Don't get upset at yourself. It's human nature. But at least know that that's a flaw. He says here, on the top of the left paragraph. Ulam hadavar pashut. So now that we've said how important it is to study Kabbalah, it's obvious שצריך שימלא קודם קרסו בש"ס ופוסקים. He has to fill his belly first with ש"ס and פוסקים, ואחר כך יעסוק בלימוד סדרי תורה, על פי חוכמת הקבלה, and then you should study the secrets of the Torah through the wisdom of Kabbalah. כמו שכתב מהר חו, מורנו הרב חיים ויטל, in the Shaar הקדמות. וכן כתבו הרמה, בהגה יורדה. The Rama writes also the same thing in the Shulchan Aruch. Ramaram Cordovero, I'm skipping lines because these are just names of people in books. Moshe Cordovero writes, Maharsha writes, Bashla Kadosh writes, Maral Bach, and the Shach, and the Chayei Adam, and the Vilna Gaon, and the Mishle. And this is, and I'm now 6 lines from the bottom of the paragraph. The last word in line is Ve'ayin. 6 lines from the bottom. Ve'ayin od b'shuti chavedat. Go look at the writings of my father. Who's his father? Rabbi Yosef, Chelik Daled in the 4th volume. Sheherich, hirchiv binyan zeh. He talks about this a lot in length. Vevi od tamim lekach. Shemi shalom mileh kirso b'shas poskim en lo la'asok b'chmat kabbalah. He brings a number of reasons, more reasons, why a person who does not know the simple Torah should not get involved in Kabbalah. V'katav limchot betokef. And he wrote very vehemently, Keneged hamkamot shekamu b'zman ha'achron, against the places which have risen recently. Umlamdim behem Kabbalah l'hamonam, and they teach Kabbalah publicly. V'hamilamdim atzmam, and the melamdim themselves, the teachers themselves, einam muchzakim b'yirat shamayim, they themselves are not known for their excessive yirat shamayim.